Paul, first of all, you must be pretty chuffed with that performance and result out there.
Performance was gritty and team orientated and selfless in so many ways by so many players against the side that challenged us with possession, and we really had to work hard. Absolutely chuffed with the 1-0 win. Managers do tend to like 1-0 wins. I prefer 2-0, but 1-0's great, and a clean sheet, when you consider the inexperience of the back four, that's actually quite a performance really. You consider between McCready, Sweeney and Ampadu how many league appearances they've got between them. That says was quite a feat for them to keep a clean sheet today and do it so assured. It was a really good performance.
Obviously, a lot of talk will be about Ethan Ampadu, and we'll come back and touch on him on a minute. But you mentioned there Sweeney and McCready, and of course Taylor playing a left back as well. They're all young guys. Were you at all? You must have had a lot of confidence in them to put them out against such a good side today.
Well, it's part of being an Exeter City manager. We, of course, every season we want to put a team together that can challenge and do the very best. But we also have to be very pragmatic, and there's always a theory behind the squad we put together, and we have at other times, but this season we haven't got a lot of strength in depth with senior proven players. What we have got is we've got a squad of lots of young players backing up the first team players, and when you get injuries, well, there's one thing sitting down in the middle of June when you're planning it and think, well, that's a nice idea, and then you play the first game of the season, it's Blackpool, and we've got 2 or 3 injuries. Holmes was out injured, Troy Brown, Troy Archibald, Henville, they're injured, and you think, well, actually, we've spoken about it, we've planned it, and we've got to play them. And I mean, we have to do that as Exeter City coaching and management, because we have to produce our own players, and we don't often go for loan players from other clubs. We stick with our own, and we've got a fantastic academy line of players coming through, and Simon Hayward continues to get the very best from his academy. And let's not forget Conor Riley-Lowe today. We've moved his position in the last 2 or 3 months, and he looks suddenly a tremendous step forward in his game as well. He had a really good hour at left midfield. So there's lots to be proud of, and you got to play them. You have to give them an opportunity. And I procrastinated for maybe 24 hours about playing all of them together, and I asked my colleagues yesterday morning to talk me out of it. None of them could. So if you can't give me a compelling reason why I shouldn't play McCready, Ampadu, Sweeney, Taylor, Conor Riley-Lowe, then I'm going to play them. So we did, and I'm delighted that a club like ours can put a performance in like that and beat a championship team with young players and a lot of homegrown players.
Just on Ethan, what have you seen? What is it that you've seen in him as a 15-year-old where you thought, right, well, you're definitely ready?
Well, there's a couple of things. One, you have to be physically capable of dealing with an hour or 2 hours of football tonight, which he did beautifully well. But we asked him to come in. And let's not forget, he's still at school, and this was his school holidays. So
working on his school holidays.
Yeah. So he finished school and he came straight into to train with the first team. And I said, you come in when you want, and if you want to go on holiday with the family, then you go away, but you can come and do as many days as you can. Well, he's been in every day over his school holidays, and it became particularly apparent that within 3 or 4 weeks that the rest of the team, the squad, suddenly had utmost respect for his ability to play, and they treated him like any other first team player, if not senior first team players. And that's often a really good clue. The senior first team players instantly accepted him as one of them, and treated him as such, and that's a really good indicator of a manager. The fact that for a manager that those players accepted him in, and he's just looked the part. So we've been discussing him playing at some point, and then of course both Troys have picked up an injury, and there was an opportunity today, and I like I said, I thought, well, let's put money where our mouth is and do it.
And at centre back, I mean, I know he's played in midfield as well in the U teams, but he definitely held his own back there.
Well, that's the other remarkable thing. He's not necessarily a centre back. I mean, he's one of those players that can play 4 or 5 positions. I mean, I'm not sure what his best position will be, and nor probably will he. But he can play 4 or 5, and that also tells you what a good player is. That he can play 4 or 5 positions. I would have played him centre midfield today, also. You know, so often these 15, 16-year-old players who come through early tend to be, you know, this is a sweeping generalisation, but they'll often be a winger, a very quick, sparky winger that can, and you're not risking too much by playing one of those in your game. When it's a centre back, you know, you have to trust that player, and the biggest compliment I can give him, he plays like a 35-year-old, he plays like Matt Oakley. So that's probably the biggest compliment, and that's not normally the English way. The English way is we like drama, and we like spark, and we like instant, but we don't often encourage and cultivate subtle, classy players, and he's one of those.
You mentioned he played 2 hours of football. The whole team played 2 hours of football. Is that not a worry, but this early in the season, is it actually beneficial that they're maybe getting more game time?
I don't know. I'll come in tomorrow, and I'll see the players on Thursday, and if they're struggling and sore and got cramp and everything else, then it's a bit too much. But it is what it is. We have to play. You know, it's the professional footballers have got to get on with it. So. Okay, so what if they're a bit sore for a couple of days? That's just the way it is, and it is what it is. There's no point even. So I understand the question, but we've just got to get on with it, and we've got a game Saturday.
Having not had a great cup run for a number of years, the last 2 years now. Last year, obviously, in the FA Cup and League Cup, and this year again, you're making a bit of a habit of doing well in the cup.
Well, it's a game, and we've won this one, and we're just one game at a time. Another typical manager cliche, but it's true. One game at a time, and let's see what happens for the next round. It's a nice problem to have.
Just finally, will it be tough at all to get their feet back on the ground after beating a championship team to go into Hartlepool on Saturday?
No, I think it'll be a very different Saturday. The game will bring the life back to them, no doubt. So I'm sure we'll get a good crowd here Saturday, and on to the next.
Was Ethan likely to play in that?
We'll see.
Thanks a lot, Paul.
Thank you very much.